Hi everyone, and welcome to StudioJake. I, of course, am your host, Jacob Airy. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and also ring that little bell because YouTube is doing this weird thing where they're curating your subscription feed, so you may not see everything in chronological order, so ring the little bell, that way you get notifications whenever I post a comic book review like this, or do a live stream, or post an episode. Be sure to do that, that way you are up on everything that is going down. So, I'm continuing my ongoing series on Doomsday Clock. So, this is a series written by Jeff Johns and illustrated by Gary Frank. I want to be sure I get his name right. Yes, both of these guys are immensely talented comic book writers. They've both been in the industry for many, many years. Jeff Johns, of course, is a giant over at DC Comics. And they've been doing this series, Doomsday Clock, which is supposed to be counting down to midnight, where we have Superman. So the original purpose of the series is to kind of fill in the gaps of what happened between the New 52 and the DC Rebirth. Of course, the New 52 came out of Flashpoint. For those of you who may not remember that, it came out of Flashpoint. It was kind of a way to reboot the DC Universe into the modern world. The problem was the New 52 was not really well received. They erased Wally West from existence, which I have a video about why I think DC Comics hates Wally West. Go and check that out. I'll put the link in one of these cards. I can't remember which side it's on, but one of these cards. And they got rid of Donna Troy and Stephanie Brown and a whole host of second generation DC comic heroes. So the fans didn't really like that. So then they did Convergence, which brought us into the DC Rebirth, and we saw a lot of these characters restored. Wally West was revealed to just be trapped in the Speed Force and had affected the time and people's memories, so on and so forth. And so Doomsday Clock was kind of meant to fill in the gaps we see in both Flashpoint and in, I believe, DC Rebirth issue 1. There's like this hand that's kind of moving things along. And Doomsday Clock reveals that it is everyone's favorite naked superhero for some reason, Dr. Manhattan. So in issue 8 and 9, Dr. Manhattan has an encounter with the Justice League and whatnot. So now we get to see the universe through this actor named Carver Coleman. Now, I have to admit, I'm not sure if he's some sort of legacy character in the Watchmen universe or in the DC universe. I'm not familiar with this character, but basically what happens is he encounters Dr. Manhattan, and Dr. Manhattan kind of starts to use him as a test for the DC universe. And what is revealed is actually, I'm not too crazy about this because it shows him in the 1950s. He meets Johnny once a year over the course of several years to talk about his career in acting and whatnot. And you find out that Dr. Manhattan has either played a part in or has directly or have just been an observer in some of the reboots. So here we see kind of the classic Justice Society of America. They're all a little suspicious. And we find that Dr. Manhattan also had a hand in some of Superman's origin. So here's the original Superboy origin, where he worked with the Legion of Heroes. An origin where his parents or both of his parents are deceased. And of course, this is the New 52 origin, and so on and so forth. So here's my problem. I have no idea what the heck is going on. It had a really great linear storyline, and of course, Dr. Manhattan can see multiple storylines, and that's kind of the problem. Is Dr. Manhattan is, by definition, of Mary Sue, and he's invincible, he's indestructible, nothing can stop him, which is kind of why I didn't like The Watchmen. Of course, Alan Moore kind of made him that way on purpose because it had to do with the plot, but here in this, and I'm really disappointed in this particular issue because and this issue has had fillers before this series, but but it still had a really great linear storyline. I don't care what Dr. Manhattan's opinion is of the DC Comics universe. I really don't. And the fact that so many great writers were involved in Crisis on Infinite Earth, Infinite Crisis, Identity Theft, the New 52, or originally, what was it called? The Final Crisis and 52, then Flashpoint and New 52, and then the Convergence and Future's End, and all of these other stories. And I don't really like the idea that Dr. Manhattan was behind a lot of those because especially the early ones, dealt a lot in science fiction. And so I really feel like that this one, it kind of takes it a little off the rails. This has been delayed and delayed and delayed, this series. So I really feel like maybe if it had come out when it was supposed to, it would make more sense. But because we've already had the New 52, Convergence, and Rebirth, it makes it seem confusing. And I really feel like if I had been on the writing team on this, hashtag hire verified at real Jake Berry to write Batman comics. Just kidding, don't hashtag that. But I really feel like if I had been on the writing staff, I would have suggested, changing this a little bit and more redefining Dr. Manhattan's role in the DC universe, because this one is clearly written in a way that at the time you can tell maybe the DC Rebirth hadn't happened, and maybe it did go through a couple of rewrites, but I just mean, I'm actually okay with legacy characters. So this is the original Justice Society of America, and I always thought that what they should do is kind of do what Marvel Comics did, where so you had the Invaders are the Golden Age Avengers, and then you had something else. I can't remember what it was in between. The New Invaders, I guess, and then the Avengers in the modern world. Have some teams do that, and they did used to do that prior to Infinite Crisis. It was, I believe, Crisis on Infinite Earth. I believe it was the Justice Society, and then the Infinity Inc., and then I believe there was a resurgence of the Justice Society, and then the Justice League. So I really feel like they could have done something like that with this, that it's not multiple dimensions coming from different areas. I really feel like this one was, despite the amazing art, and this one does have really good dialogue, I'm not a fan of Dr. Manhattan's inner dialogue. I think it's kind of pointless. He's just kind of like this floaty being. He kind of reminds me of the Watcher from Marvel Comics. In this particular issue, I'm saying. Before, in the last two issues, he had a little bit more proactive role, but in this one in particular, he's just kind of like, oh, yeah, I used to be human, and then I got irradiated, and now I'm not. Okay, yeah, do something. I don't care about your commentary on the DC Universe. I really don't. It should have been written in a way where I do care, but it wasn't, and that's a kind of a disappointing thing. So we still have 2 issues left of this, and I'm going to sit back and relax and wait, just like you should. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you disagree with me, let me know. I would love to hear it. Let me know in the comments below. Or what are your favorite moments in the Doomsday Clock? Be sure to tell me. For now, thank you so much for watching. Follow me on my verified Twitter account, @RealJacobAiry. Instagram is the same, @RealJacobAiry. Facebook is author Jacob Airy. Of course, my blog is jacobairy.blog. Head over there, subscribe. There's even more comic book reviews. There's movie reviews, a whole ton of other stuff. So head over there, subscribe. You'll get notifications in your email. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time right here on Studio Jake.